The wind had been strengthening since a while back. The breaking waves had grown fierce. The ferry boats probably wouldn't be coming for a while now. The crashing thunder told that the island had been sealed off from the outside world. A thick rain poured down, mocking the fools outdoors who had to rush pathetically to find shelter. No longer would anyone be able to leave this island, and no longer would anyone be able to reach this island. No one, unless blessed with a miracle. There was another flash of lightning. The retinas of all who saw it were filled with white. As that white faded away, an eerie silhouette pulled itself up at the raging water's edge. As though suddenly remembering, it coughed violently several times, spitting out the seawater that had filled its stomach, and then tearing apart the velcro of her life jacket. She cast off the reason she had been able to float here without so much as a thank you. Welcomed in by a storm, same as always. Very good. And now you and I are going to have some fun, Butler-san. Ah, ok, finito. Beh, una piccola intro su Erika che arriva sull'isola. The annoying guest. Giustamente. The news about the drifter, Furudo Erika, quickly spread across Rokkenjima. Erika was politely entertained, and it was decided that she would be treated as a guest until the typhoon passed. In the dining hall, Goda's wonderful dinner had ended, and everyone was relaxing and enjoying some after-dinner coffee and cheese. Coffee and cheese, okay. Apparently, Butter was a bit relieved that Erika had come and turned into a good scapegoat. It drove away some of the attention he'd been getting piled up on him for finally coming back after 6 years. In fact, she turned out to be very talkative. When the conversation turned to a sophisticated discussion of the mystery genre, even the adults were drawn in. She was apparently so well versed that even Nanju, who had a vast knowledge of the subject, was very impressed. Good point. A strange family in a western mansion on an isolated island during a storm. Now that we have a detective stopping by to take shelter from the rain, we've got all the major factors lined up. Have no fear. No matter how difficult the crime, I will solve it. That's a detective's job. How reassuring. In fact, I would quite enjoy it if some kind of bizarre accident were to occur now. Kraus, te la stai tirando però adesso, te la stai tirando addosso. I just hope I don't have to play the part of the victim. Don't be imprudent, dear. Well, the history of the human mystery genre, it's about a century old. Its tricks and ideas are limited to a few recycled patterns, so there's nothing left to show. No matter what kind of impossible crimes or locked room murders might occur, it'll be nothing more than one of the same classes of tricks that start to look like something new. The only reason mystery still makes for popular books today is because self-proclaimed fans who work off pierced together knowledge and who have hardly read any of the classics, mistake classic tricks they didn't know about for something new and surprising through lack of proper study. Everyone couldn't help but gape at this imposing claim. If an age critic had said it, it would have been one thing, but it showed incredible boldness for a young person like her to state that so strongly. Mystery is a genre that ended half a century ago, at least as far as I'm concerned. However, thanks to the countless ignorant fools, I get to play my part as detective. By that argument, romance was perfected back in Shakespeare's time, and anything after that isn't worth reading. That's a good point. Then I suppose that as long as you read Romeo and Juliet, you essentially understand all of romance, wouldn't you say? Qua è Butler che... Allora, ricordiamoci che è Butler adesso che ha fatto il gioco. E secondo me non è da mettere fuori luogo, cioè non è da escludere che la stia un po' prendendo per il culo in questo momento. No, that's ridiculous. Books aren't a competition. It's not about who's read the most. But boasting that you've read all that you ever need to read is just as wrong-headed. Just reading classics of the past and never anything new is being overly nostalgic, don't you think? That sounds to me like the excuse of an old person who's too lazy to read anything. That's fair. It seems I need to read at least as much as you before I'll be able to beat you in an argument. Me? I don't read. Butler chuckled, but Erika knew from the previous game that Butler was actually quite an avid reader, so his words felt like more of a challenge. If you're so confident in your reasoning abilities, you must be really good at quizzes and puzzles, right? Oh, right. Maria, didn't you bring a quiz book or something? Oh, I brought it. Picking up that Erika's arrogant statement had made the atmosphere a little tense, George smoothly changed the subject. È sempre super smooth, George. By now it was more than clear that she wasn't the charming as she appeared to be. Maria pulled a book out of her bag that had quizzes and puzzles written in it and started posing them to everyone. It might have looked as though it would become a peaceful quiz party, but of course that wasn't what happened. In credit to all her big talking, Erika managed an impressive ratio of correct and immediate answers. Erika took complete control. Her bragging began to escalate more and more. George slightly regretted the choice he had made when changing the subject. Ciao, Cipi.
$106
106 matches? No need to even write a tournament chart for that. The question, how many matches would you need for a tournament with 107 teams, was answered instantly by Erika. This is less of a puzzle than it is a test of knowledge. There's a formula which shows that the number of matches is always the number of the team minus 1. Well, if you just look at the example showing 3 matches for 4 teams and 7 matches for 8 teams, it will be easy to figure out the pattern. Oh, Erika, that's awesome! Erika Onechan, right? Say it. Oh, Erika Onechan, that's awesome. Really impressive. So, you don't call yourself a detective for nothing. I couldn't very well act the part of the detective if I was incapable of handling puzzles of this sort. Incredible. I'm sure you'll be able to become a real detective in the future. Well, I'm pretty sure I already am one. The cousins all thought about the answers to the questions, but Erika always answered first. Rosa thought it was a bit rude for Erika to say the answers out loud while people were thinking, instead of keeping them to herself. But since Erika was a guest, Rosa decided against mentioning it. In truth, Erika was perfectly aware of this when she answered the questions instantly. Each time she would grin broadly, as though saying, "Is it really taking you all this long to solve such an easy problem?" Deve essere completamente... cioè, avere Erika come persona di fianco, conversare con Erika deve essere una delle cose più fastidiose della Terra. She must be so insufferable, Dio Cristo. Since you're a great detective, you don't really need to take this seriously, right? That's right. Even though these are just childish questions, I've been taking them a bit too seriously. I'll take more care, so let's hear the next question, please. Alright, I won't lose this time. Maria, next question, please. You have one large piece of cheese. A single slice with a knife can split it in two parts. So, what is the lowest number of slices you can make to cut it into 8 parts? Diciamo 3. Oh, I know this one. So I guess I'll stay quiet this time. George, acting like the adult he was, set up a mood that would prevent people from answering right away, even if they knew the answer, in effect, sending a warning to Erika. It seemed that Erika understood, and she averted her gaze, snorting derisively. To make 8 pieces, 4 slices would be enough, right? Don't be so foolish. Ovviamente, guarda, è Eva che va subito a teasarla. It would hardly be a puzzle if that was the answer. That's right. These are usually set up so that the smaller number than you'd expect is the answer. But still, how exactly could it be done? Oh, I got it. You can only do it because it's cheese. True. If you try do it with a birthday cake, there would be a huge fight. That's right. You might be able to do this with cheese, but you'll never cut a cake like this. All of you know the answer? Damn it. Am I the only one who doesn't? I've got it. I see. So you have to think 3-dimensionally. Oh, even Jessica? Oh, I don't get it. What do we have to do? Maria knows the answer. It's written right here. You didn't know the answer until you looked, right? Can you work it out, Buttercun? I figured it out as well. This is something you can do because it's cheese. Even Dr. Nanjo gets it. Could it be? Am I the only one who doesn't get it? If we tried cooking your brain a bit, it would probably become as flexible as cheese. It's something like use 0 slices with a knife and break it apart with your hands, right? No way. It's a special cheese that can only be cut with a knife. Think of the cheese in 3 dimensions. If that's hard, it might help to draw a picture on it might be help blah blah blah. If that's hard, it might help to draw a picture on a paper napkin. So we have one large piece of cheese, right? Then we use a knife to make 8 pieces. Can a knife only cut in a straight line? Yes, that's right. The knife only cuts in straight lines. Oh, but there's a hint. You can only cut in a straight line, but you're free to cut it wherever you want. Try thinking of various ways to stick the knife in. You should probably try to think out of the box a bit. Show us what you've got, Butler-kun. You have a large piece of cheese. How many times must you cut it with a knife to make it 8 pieces? It's obvious that you could do it in 4 cuts. Can it be done in even fewer cuts than that? The hint said that it was something that could be done because it was cheese. If it was a birthday cake, you really wouldn't be allowed to do this. Something you can do because it's cheese. È arrivato? È arrivato la golden truth del cheese. I got it. Oh, I was totally tricked. This isn't something you can think up with a stiff head. Seems like you finally hit on it. Hopefully, it is the right answer. It's impossible to cut the cheese with anything except the knife, right? The knife can cut only in a straight line, right? There aren't any other rules, right? Right? No, not really. Alright, then that's gotta be it. That was a tough one. Almost like a riddle. It's just that you won't get anywhere if you always cut down from the top. You made 2 cuts on the top to get 4 pieces. If you keep it like that and cut across the side, splitting into the upper half and the lower half, you get 4 times 2 equals 8 pieces. It's an answer you can't reach unless you think three-dimensionally. In other words, the correct answer is 3. Huh? Really? I thought the correct answer was 1. What kind of magic did you use? There's no way in the world you can manage it with 1. This isn't a riddle, it's just a normal math problem. Oh, really? I thought of the 3-cut method right away, but I figured that would be too easy, so I guess I tried to twist it too far. Butler's answer is smaller than the one in the book. Is Butler right? Yes, he is. Butler's son is right. The right answer is 1 slice. Butler was happy that someone had confirmed his answer. However, at some point, Erika's face had lost its cheeriness. To think that a human other than myself would answer 1, and it'd have to be you of all people. Your answer was 1 too, Erika? I guess you were also thinking pretty far out of the box. It would be truly foolish to arbitrarily decide the shape just because you heard it was a piece of cheese. That's impossible. Onichan got it wrong, didn't he? How could you cut it into 8 pieces with less than 3 slices? How foolish, child of man. It says to cut it into 8 pieces, but nowhere does it say that they have to be of equal size. That's still impossible. Do you cut it with something other than a knife? The rule says you only that only the knife can cut it, and that the knife can only cut in a straight line. However, to turn it around, the rules do not say anything besides that. In fact, the shape of the cheese is never specified. I get it. When you all heard a large piece of cheese, you thought of a flat cylinder like camembert. I was thinking about sliced cheese, like the kind you might put on a toast for breakfast. Butler pensa alle sottilette. After all, I don't usually have anything to do with full block of cheese that you cut with a knife. The shape of the cheese isn't specified in the rules. A mistake by the ones who made the book. I imagine that there's a picture of a flat cylinder of cheese there in Maria-san's book. There is, right here. As Erika had guessed, the book Maria held had an illustration of a piece of cheese just as Erika had described it. With cheese of this shape, 3 slices really would be the correct answer. You cut it into a cross pattern from the top to make 4 pieces, then you cut it from the sides to double that and make it 8 pieces. However, since this illustration hadn't been shown, the interpretation of the cheese had been left to the answerer. That's right. Then the problem was when the problem was stated, it never said anything about what the cheese shape was or how flexible it was. Exactly. It seems that Butler's son was the more flexible one when it comes to both brain and cheese. Oh, I don't get it. How does making it sliced cheese let you cut into 8 parts with a single knife slice? Why not try it with that paper napkin? Pretend it's sliced cheese. It's like this. You fold it in an accordion style. How many times do we need to fold it to make it 8 sections? 6 times. To fold it in an accordion style, you alternate between upward and downward folds. Once you've done it 6 times, it looks like the side of an accordion. In normal cheese, it'll break if you try to fold it like this. But the rule says that this cheese can't break unless you use a knife, right? Yes, no problems there. After all, this is magic cheese that can only be cut with a knife. After folding it, if you start at the top and make a cut round down the middle... Oh, you're right. There are 8 parts. Wait a second. The parts aren't all equal this way, right? All the questioner said was to cut it into 8 pieces. They didn't say anything about them being equal. Well, if you change the way you fold it, it is possible to make them of all equal sizes, but I wouldn't want to confuse you stiff-headed people with the explanation. Madonna quanto sei da prendere a schiaffi, Erika. For a while, everyone was stunned. Butler had reached a far better answer than 3 by thinking of the problem as a riddle. Erika had already known both answers and had even spotted a mistake made by the book. The others could do nothing but stare at those 2 in surprise. Incredible. So we were the stiff-headed ones. What a failure. We were thinking in 3 dimensions. It looks like Buttercone and Erika-chan were thinking 1 dimension higher. Hai ragione, Andrew, ma di sicuro. It seems the game with the witch has toughened you up quite a lot. Puzzles without specified rules, in other words, all things not covered by the red truth, are left to the observer's interpretation. It's the most basic of methods for constructing gaps in the witch's locked rooms. What are you talking about? Is that a quote from some novel? Well, let's call it that for now, shall we? Anyway, I guess this means that all of your brains are as stiff as rock-hard cheese. Without any signs of restraint, Erika looked at everyone and laughed sarcastically. Only Maria didn't notice the venom in that laugh as she happily turned to the next page. Oh, then on to the next problem. You have 3 cups and 6 coins. Split the coins so that there's only 1 coin in 1 cup, and 2 coins in another cup, and 3 coins in the 3rd cup. Wait a second, that's easy. Just stick 1 coin in the first, 2 in the next one, and 3 in the last one, and you're done. Appunto, sto cercando di capire qual è l'inghippo. However, can you do the same with only 5 coins? Here's another cliché problem. Don't tell me that Don't tell me that you all need to waste several precious seconds on a problem like this. By now, Erika was gazing around with an unpleasant look, acting in a manner that was completely inappropriate both for a guest and for someone of her age. She was no longer a guest who would be staying until the storm passed. She had transformed into an annoying guest who wouldn't leave until the storm passed. Everyone thought this, but they were unable to say it out loud. Right, speaking of problems with coins, I've heard that you can tell whether someone's good with chopsticks or not by seeing if they can pick up coins with them. Oh no, Giorgio, non dovevi parlare di chopsticks. Ecco, chopsticks? Yes, chopsticks. That's right. Chopsticks are the most elegant utensils on the planet. Poking things and chopping them up with forks and knives is so barbaric. Chopsticks are the best. For me, using chopsticks is truly an art. Jessica was about to say, isn't a chopstick just a stick, but stopped herself just in time. She realized that it was best to let George take control for now. I have some change here. Would you like to challenge me? I'm pretty good with chopsticks. That's right. We train George very well with chopsticks. One's upbringing show in their table manners. Erika-san was very impressive herself. I'll lend you some coins too. You'll probably be more fun with more of them. Jessica, watch closely and then... Oh, cram it already. Alright, let's go. Let's see who can move the most coins over to their plate. Bring it on! Oh mio Dio, sta venendo. Qualcuno la fermi. This time George had steered the conversation into a good direction. Everyone else understood and they had to egg on this chopstick fight and change the subject. They were fully aware by now that Erika was extremely proud of her intelligence, and apparently she had the bad habit of using that to look down on other people. She spun her chopsticks around her fingers with the dexterity of a stage magician, staring at the coins scattered on the table like a dog waiting for permission to eat the food placed before him. The unsettling sound of the wind had now blended in with the sound of rain, resembling the howl of some monstrous beast. Just when he seemed to be crying out sadly, it would suddenly turn into a roar and rattle the windows, striking up even more fear and unease within me. Light from the hallway poured in through the thin crack of the slightly opened door, and it seemed to carry with it laughter that was happy and warm, but very distant. I'm sure everyone's in the dining hall or somewhere having a good time. I want to go there as soon as I can. I'm sure my family will be there. I hate being all alone in a place like this. Dad, Mom, I stubbornly tried again and again to open the door, but the merciless chain just wouldn't let the door open any further than that crack. On the contrary, feeling this close to a way out just made me more impatient. Gulping and trying to ignore the fear lurking behind me, I quietly closed that door. Siamo ritornati a questa parte. That light coming out of the crack is just a trap. This is an iron shackle, trying to keep me locked in for eternity by making me think I'm just an inch away from getting out of the door. Out of a door that will never actually open. I need to get out of this creepy room as soon as possible. When I closed the door, all that filled the room was the eerie sound of wind and rain. The way the wind picked up every now and then and shook the window's frame felt like a monster in a cage shaking the bars. I was so scared of that monster, I couldn't help but avert my gaze from the windows. Gotta search. If I can't get out of the door, I need to find another way out. Just to the side of the door was a closet. There was only enough space inside to hang overcoats. Of course, it didn't connect to anywhere outside the room. If this were hide and seek, it'd probably be fun to hide in there. However, inside this creepy room, it would be no better than stepping into my own coffin. If I go in there, maybe I won't be able to get out of the closet next. This nonsensical fear sent a massive shiver up my spine, and I closed the closet door in a hurry. There's one door left. When I opened it, there was a bath and a toilet. Of course, there was no exit. There weren't even any windows. If I turned the faucet, water would probably come out, but then disappear down the drain and flow outside. But I couldn't get out that way. Unless I went into the bathtub with the stopper pulled out of the drain and smashed my flesh and bone to bits. I had the feeling that this was the only way out. So the black stopper in the bathtub drain looked extremely terrifying. I tried a lot of things, both mentally and physically, but there really was no way of getting out through the bathroom. All that was left was the windows. The view through the window was pitch black darkness. The fierce winds and rain were slamming against the glass. The darkness on the other side of the window may be unsettling, but I didn't really care where I went as long as it was outside this room. However, the window was cramped shut. Right down the middle of the window, which was made to swing open like a set of double doors, were several ugly metal clamps. It was even more unnerving than the chain on the door, like a rough operation scar on some bizarre monster. The wind and rain slammed against and shook the window frame, making it creak loudly. However, unlike the door, this wouldn't open even a crack. I've had enough. Give it a rest already. What the hell is going on in this room? I have enough of this. I've had enough of this creepy room. Enough, enough, enough! It's impossible to get outside except by the door and windows. And compared to the thick door, the window looks like it might be possible to break. I'll smash it. If I swing a chair at it, the glass will probably break. Might even be able to smash the wooden grid dividing up the window. All I need to do is make a gap large enough to slip out. I grab a fancy-looking antique chair and headed back to the window. Ah! I smashed the chair against it, over and over. The glass smashed with a violent sound, and the frame groaned and creaked. I hit it again, over and over. If I can just break through this wooden frame. Damn it, what the hell? Even though all the glass has been smashed apart, even though the cold rain is blowing in and tormenting me, I just can't get that frame to break. They aren't iron bars, it's just a delicate wooden mesh. It's fragile enough to make that creaking sound, so why doesn't it break? No, wait. Maybe it's close to breaking. What if I try attacking it from a different angle instead of just smashing it head on? I stuck my left hand outside through one of the holes of the broken window, grabbed the frame from the front with my right hand and tried to break it by shaking it around from both sides. My left hand started to grow ice cold from the frigid winds and rain. As I shook fragments of glass sticking out from the broken frame, poking to me, and my wrist was soon stained with blood. But if I can get out of here, this pain, much pain, is no big deal. But I can't get out. I'm stuck. It won't open. It won't open. I can't break it. The more violently I shook the frame, the more the glass fragments tore into my left wrist, causing me intense pain. Wait, what's... Huh? Ow. Before I realized it, the glass fragments on the frame had grown longer and more spiky. It was as though the ugly beast was trying to chew my hand off with glass teeth. It's not my imagination. They actually are getting longer before my eyes. They're chewing my hands to bits. I tried desperately to pull my hand out, but it had already dug deep into my wrist. I couldn't remove it. I put all of my strength into it, but it just hurt more and more, and the glass didn't even budge. What the hell? Damn it, let go! With my right fist, I hit the glass over and over, attempting to break it. But that just hurt my right fist as well and did nothing to release my other hand. And then, my left hand, which was still stuck outside and exposed to the rain, brushed against something slimy. What? It could have been a leaf blown about by the winds or anything like that. It couldn't have been a leaf blown about by the blah blah blah. I mean, it felt like the touch of someone's rain-soaked hand. Then it closed tightly around my left hand. When I felt the 5 fingers, I knew that some person out in the darkness was touching my left hand. And yes, I knew who this is. It's the witch, the terrifying witch who controls Rokkenjima's night. The 2 hands soaked in the freezing rain gently caressed my left hand. However, though I could tell this was happening from the touch, I couldn't see anything out there in the darkness. Then I felt about my fingers and I bent my ring finger upwards. Ow, it's gonna break. Ah! At that moment I saw something in the darkness for the first time. It was white. The darkness grinned. It bared its white teeth. Then that mouth full of eerie white teeth approached my bent back finger, and it opened wide. It must have been laughing at me from the darkness. After all, its creepy mouth had twisted upward in a huge grin. It had a horrible idea of what it might be trying to... I had a horrible idea of what it might be trying to do with my finger. A shiver ran up my spine. I resisted as much as I could, but the fangs of the glass just wouldn't release my left hand. And then, after giving my finger a playful nibble, it bit down hard, crushing bone and tearing flesh all at once, and it bit it off. Crunch, rip, tear, squelch, splat. Did you hear something just now? I think I heard it too. It sounded like a clunk. It's probably just the wind hitting the window. This is a beat up old mansion after all. Yeah, it's pretty creepy. I remember spending a lot of nights all scared that the witch really was walking around the mansion when I was a brat 6 years ago. It exists! Beatrice exists! What's at the other end of this hallway? There are guest rooms there, but they aren't being used now. After all, we have the guest house now. Prior to that, we would always stay in these guest rooms. Yeah, I remember too. When I saw the guest house today, I was surprised at how beautiful it was. Well, just because it was just built. I wish I could move my own room over there. Shannon, Erika-san's room is in the guest house too, right? Yes, we have prepared a room for her in the guest house. And you say the guest house is a good distance away from the mansion. No matter what kind of trouble happens, we won't be able to hear what's going on in one from the other. Are you still in detective mode? When all of us wake up tomorrow and everyone says good morning to each other, sounds as though you'll be disappointed. True. It would be troublesome if our numbers haven't thinned by tomorrow morning, right? Allow me to guide you to the guest house. The adults were apparently about to begin a conversation that they didn't want the kids to hear. The real family conference was about to start. As the kids and Erika followed Shannon on their way to the guest house, they passed through the entrance hall. Looks like it's pouring down its hardest right now. Wouldn't it be better to watch TV or something in the parlor until it dies down a bit? Mama said to go back to the guest house. I have to go or she'll get mad. We'll be way more relaxed over in the guest house. Screw dealing with the grumpy voices and faces of our parents. Adesso sicuramente, Jover. It looks like everything's falling into place. Erika giggled an openly indiscreet look on her face. I'll go prepare some umbrellas for everyone. Please wait here. Oh, just a moment. I've been curious for a while. Who might the lady in the portrait be? Well, to be honest, I already know that it is Beato's portrait. Still, we simply walked past it in the last game, which is no fun at all. Erika whispered to herself, but of course no one heard her. This is the master's benefactor, Beatrice-sama. I have heard that she gave grandfather a vast quantity of gold, meaning that she's to thank for the Ushiromi family's revival. She's just a witch of grandfather's delusions. They say her ghost walks the corridors of the mansion every night. Hey, quit it. That story always freaked me out when I was little, so much that I couldn't stand being in the mansion at night. Oh, right, that's true. What about 6 years later? I've totally forgotten. But looking at this portrait head on, I can feel that old fear coming back. Beatrice seems scary. At least as long as you respect her. If you don't... Right, Shannon? Yes, that rumor does exist among the servants as well. Rumors about servants patrolling at night, glimpsing mysterious silhouettes or gold butterflies. Wasn't there that one servant just last year or the year before that fell down some stairs and got badly injured that they quit? Wasn't there a rumor that it was Beatrice's curse? Jessica told it like a ghost story, trying to scare Erika, but Erika just laughed disdainfully. Come on, that's creepy. It was probably just an accident, right? Just a coincidence. It happened just after grandfather had his portrait hung here, so it was probably the year before last. In fact, if I remember correctly, this here is the very stairway that the servant fell down, right? Yeah, after all, this insanely huge portrait really stands out. Shortly after it was put up, everyone was talking about what it might be. And then, when the accident happened right afterwards, people started calling it Beatrice's curse. So, these ghost stories about Beatrice started after the portrait was displayed? No, rumors about Beatrice-sama's ghost walking about had been around even before that. However, I think those stories grew in number after the portrait was put there. Before then, even though they had heard about the witch Beatrice, they didn't have an actual distinct picture in their heads of what she'd be like. I imagine that this portrait made that picture distinct for them, strengthening the rumors even more. E beh, giustamente, se nessuno... Cioè, se Beatrice era l'amante segreta di Kinzo, e segreta, giustamente, nessuno sapeva che faccia aveva. Giusto? Noi lo diamo per scontato perché l'abbiamo sempre vista, ma per i servant che lavoravano qui e anche per i membri della famiglia, immagino, che venivano qui da anni, se non l'avevano mai vista, deve essere stata la prima volta che hanno associato il nome ad una faccia. So, who started all that talk about the witch Beatrice in the first place? Grandfather. He got in a rage and started yelling about... Aspetta un attimo, Jessica, mi hai ammazzato. Aspetta, sono un secondo. Aspetta, ho bisogno di sentirlo di nuovo. Grandfather would get in a rage and start yelling about my beloved witch Beatrice. Until we saw the portrait, we had no idea what she looked like. It's no surprise that you get one or two ghost stories with a creepy portrait like this hanging around. Quando è che l'hanno appeso? L'ha detto appena George, aspetta. It happened just after grandfather had this portrait hung there, so it was probably the year before last. Quindi 2 anni prima, nell'84. Nell'84 è diventato, diciamo, dominio pubblico la faccia di Beatrice. Dominio pubblico, insomma, per chi viene su Rock and Gym, ovviamente. You always get ghost stories cropping up around things like a portrait of Beethoven in the music room or the statue of the school founder. True, given that people have been spending time in an old, gloomy mansion like this, with the sound of wind and rain constantly present in the background, it doesn't surprise me that a few ghost stories have arisen. Well, it's nothing more than a ghost story, a fantasy, a fairy tale. Worth less than the useless drivel of a half-sleeping nitwit. Erika looked up at the portrait and smiled at it defiantly. Maria's face immediately soured, as though she felt that this smile was disrespectful to Beato. Beatrice exists. If you say things like that, you'll definitely feel the curse of the witch. Oh, how frightening. Please curse me if you can, Beatrice. So, if we find you mysteriously dead next morning, it'll be the start of a witch murder case. You're the detective, right? Wouldn't having the detective get killed off in the beginning be a little too radical? Oh, that would be troubling. That would get in the way of the crime scene inspection. I see. Even the Knox rules don't prohibit the detective being killed. I have something good. It's a charm that'll protect you from Beatrice's curse. A charm? You have a charm for something like that? After fishing around in her bag, Maria pulled out a string of beads attached to a medal that had a scorpion drawn on it. It looked like a cheap prize from an arcade or something. What are these? Oh, they're magic repelling charms. Their effects is very weak, but if you use them, you'll definitely be able to avoid Beatrice's curse all night long. I've heard that spider webs are also useful for repelling magic. Beato's avatar is a butterfly, so that's probably why she doesn't like spiders. Oh? Wasn't it the evil spirits of Akujikijima that were weak against that? Kumasawa-san knows a lot about that sort of thing. Akujikijima è il nome di Rokkenjima prima che lo venisse acquistata dagli Ushiromi. Witches and evil spirits? This is getting a bit interesting. Would you mind telling me about it in a little more detail when we get to the guest house? Here are your umbrellas. It's still raining very hard outside, so please take care. Shannon handed out the umbrellas she had brought. Everyone headed towards the front door. Va bene, Andrew, a dopo allora. Ti faremo un riassunto. After that, when there were none left standing in front of the portrait, a gold butterfly appeared. Then, expanding out into a spray of gold, it took a human form. In the hall, empty now that the children have left, Beato stood alone and silent, looking up at her own portrait. E questa è la Beato chic. L'ho già capito dal sospiro. Si capisce già dal sospiro. Without a doubt, the figure depicted there was as like her as the image in a mirror. However, it felt as though its eyes and expression were just a little different from hers. From her perspective, while the person in the portrait was almost infinitely close to herself, it was just as surely a different person entirely. Who are you? Please tell me what kind of person you are. Beato had already finished reading the fragment from Federin's archive that showed the tales of the game so far. However, the witch called Beatrice, who had been depicted in them, had been so vastly different from her. At the very end, it had looked as though that witch and Butler had connected just a little bit as adversaries. But for the most part, Beatrice had just bullied Butler in nearly all of the tales. Even though this was about her, she had no idea why Beatrice had tormented Butler so much when she had supposedly been born for Butler's sake. All she had learned from Federin's archive was that the former Beato was a completely different person who defied understanding. What happened to you? I am an egg of you, a chick. Your wings should have existed for father's sake. Just when did you have one of those torn off and end up so drastically different? She had also been listening to the conversation Butler and the others had just been having. Beatrice couldn't handle scorpion charms? Beatrice can't deal with spider webs? It wasn't as though she would like to touch either of those if she had the choice, but nothing bad would happen if she did. She was perfectly fine around those. Proof that she wasn't, Beatrice? Even though it was about herself, she didn't understand at all. So she quietly gazed into her own eyes of the portrait. It felt as though the truth hid behind those eyes. Beato slowly approached the portrait, and then she lightly touched it. When she did, it felt as though the portrait rippled slightly. Yes, this is a doorway. Super Mario 64. A doorway to the long path that would lead her to the golden witch Beatrice. Beato felt a bit dizzy. She had lost her balance, feeling as though the world was twisting around her. Then she couldn't tell which way was up or down, and was swallowed up downwards. With a soft, watery sound, Beato was sucked into the portrait. Ariamis. Sto zitto. The world inside the portrait was pitch black. However, there was nothing unsettling about it. It was a comfortable darkness, like when you put your head under the covers in the bed at night. Beato realized this was a world inside herself. So despite the darkness, she felt a warm embrace. As long as she asked for nothing, this world would ask nothing of her. But she couldn't remain like this. She didn't want to spend eternity inside the darkness of this world. Yes, I need to hatch out of my egg. This darkness is the inside of the shell that surrounds the gold butterfly called Beatrice. I will be born for father's sake. I will live for my father butler's sake and be born to serve him. She put her purpose and reason for being born into words, as if in response to these words, the seal on the shell began to melt away. Cracks appeared in the darkness and a brilliant light enveloped the world. Suoni magici. Oh! And so Beatrice was born. Say! There I stood, along with another me. For a second I thought that the me in front of me was the real Beatrice, the one I wanted to be more like. However, she was looking back at me with the same bewildered eyes, and so I realized that that wasn't quite it. That's right, I wasn't only born from the egg. I wasn't the only one born from the egg. She was also born. My twin? No, it felt a bit different. How can I put it? Both of us are lacking something and immature. Yes, both of us are chicks, but we are also fragments of the true Beatrice. It felt as though the two of us together could become the real Beatrice. No one explained this to us. However, we naturally understood. I decided to talk to this other me. Unless I get to know her and become one with her, I won't be able to become the Beatrice father desires. In other words, the thing that father wants from me and was so heartbroken to find missing must be something that she has. Hello? Che faccio? The Beatrice with her hair down looked at me dubiously several times, then finally spoke. Why do you have the same face as me? We use the word warawa to refer. No, she used the word. Mamma mia. She used the word warawa to refer to herself, just like the true Beatrice. It looks like she really does have something that I lack. Well, I didn't know why either. I am the Golden Witch, Beatrice. And you are? I am also Beatrice. I was born for the purpose of serving Ushiramiya Butler. I am the Golden Witch and the ruler of Rokkenjima's night. I know Ushiramiya Butler, but I have trouble imagining why I would have to serve a brat like him. I realized that the thought I had a second ago, that together we could become the true Beatrice, must really have been true. Though the person in front of me does have the part that makes her a witch, which I lack, she does not possess the mission to live for Ushiramiya Butler's sake. She has what I do not, and I'm sure I have something she has not. We must be one person in two. I think we're something like twins. No, that is not so. You are my little sister. I have been here since long before you were born. Huh? I have no idea. I was born later. So, does that mean that the mission to live for Ushiramiya Butler's sake was born later on? However, I don't think my existence is something quite as faint as intangible as a mission. I have enough of a personality to think and act as I am doing now. So the witch Beato and I are separate people, both of us possessing something the other lacks. In that sense, maybe it's fitting for us to call ourselves sisters, as she says. I want to know about you. I also wish to know. I understand that you are also me. Why is it that you speak in that way, and why must you serve Butler? As long as we cannot understand that, it seems both of us will remain immature. I want to become a complete Beatrice. Until you were born, I was complete. However, now that you have appeared, I believe that accepting you is my obligation. I also wish to know about you. The witch Beato's stone was very slightly arrogant, matching with her self-proclaimed status as the older sister. However, since we both realized that we were the same person, there was no need to be unkind. This was probably because she understood, after meeting me, that her current form was not her real self. Where are we? Is this the hall of the mansion? Oh! Beato gasped. Her portrait wasn't there. Did that mean that this was at least 2 years in the past? Precisely. This is the hall of the Ushiramiya mansion. The night is my time, and the nighttime mansion is mine as well. The fool Kinzo is still so desperate to catch me or revive me. How truly ironic, for here I am, openly controlling the mansion each and every night. So, what do you do here? I have lost my body, and due to the effects of that hateful shrine, I have no magical power. However, I am reviving that magical power bit by bit every day. My ultimate goal is to undergo a spectacular resurrection and gloat to Kinzo. I cannot wait to tell him that I have succeeded in escaping his cage. For now, I have become something of a ghost, wandering about and killing time every night, all in anticipation of that gloating grin. Can I come with you? Of course. After all, you are part of me. How could a left arm refuse the company of the right? Refuse the company of the right? It would be senseless to refuse. I shall be pleased to have you, my little sister, the new Beatrice. Oh, thank you very much. Oh, cute. A somewhat embarrassing name, but it's not bad. Come, let us go. Let us take a walk through the nighttime mansion. Let me introduce you to my boring everyday life. The two Beatrices changed their form into two gold butterflies and fluttered silently in the depths of the shadowy mansion. Oh. Perfetto Andrew, sei arrivato giusto alla fine del capitolo. Ma ti sei perso. Allora, nel momento in cui tu sei andato via... Aspetta, The Source of Magic. Ok. Comunque, questo l'avevamo letto. Beatrice the Elder, a mysterious witch who existed even before the rules. She had the same name as Beato, but she was not given the purpose of devoting herself to Butler, a mere shadow of a witch sealed away by Kinzo. She spends her days pulling small pranks and clearing away the anti-magic toxin for the sake of her resurrection. Has many things in common with the evil spirits of Akujikijima, such as a fear of spiderwebs. She was the one who gave Shannon the golden butterfly brooch. Ah, guarda qua che facciamo il ritorno ad episodio 2. Anche se non aveva questo aspetto in episodio 2, aveva l'aspetto questo, della Beatrice, questa. Back then I was, I guess I still am, a bit of a klutz. I'd always forget where I put things, or intend to lock something but then forget. I caused a lot of trouble. I remember how Aunt Natsui used to get mad at you all the time. But eventually Shannon managed to overcome her forgetfulness. Oh, and how would you do that? It wasn't anything big, but I got into the habit of writing things down. I'd write down whether I put something important, whatever. I would write down wherever I put something important. For things that were part of the daily routine, I made a checklist and always made sure to check it. So, did you see Beatrice or didn't you? I didn't see her directly, but some very strange things did happen. She was talking about a certain summer night. It was when Shannon was doing the nightly rounds. From her perspective, it was a ghost story. From the witch's perspective, it was just the story of a little summer night prank. My little sister, do you understand the anti-magic toxin that humans possess? No. What is it, One-sama? The time of witches has long since passed. Those vile humans who claim to control everything came to deny our existence and possess a strong toxin. Is that toxic harmful for us? Is that toxin harmful to us? It is extremely dangerous. If it got to us, our forms would probably evaporate in an instant. However, one thing we do have in our favor is the fact that our existence is still extremely weak. Because of that, the toxin does not affect us greatly. At worst, it can only transform us into mist for a time. However, we'd rather avoid it if we can, right? Correct. Yes, I see that you are me. You understand quickly. The older sister appeared to be haughty at first, but perhaps because she was so happy to have met her double and little sister, she was more than willing to teach her anything she wanted to know. The first thing she had taught her was that they were witches, a different type of being than humans. Miyato had thought that she wasn't a witch because she couldn't use magic, but apparently she was still a witch nonetheless. Then she was taught that witches such as her, unlike humans, were bound by various restrictions. The greatest of those restrictions was the anti-magic toxin possessed by humans. So in other words, we mustn't enter a human field of vision. Correct. You can think of it as though human eyes radiate the toxin. If they see you, it is the same as your body being burnt. Though they are lesser in extent, being heard or sensed can also result in contact with the toxin. So it's dangerous just for us to get close to humans. Wasn't Father a human? Why am I not burned by Father Toxin? If we stock up magical power and have it acknowledged by humans, the toxin can be reduced drastically. In other words, by having our existence acknowledged by humans, we make them lose their toxin, making it possible for us to appear before them once more. Oh, I see. Simply put, as we are now, we can only exist when humans aren't around. We are still very lacking in magical power, which makes us inferior to even a stray cat hiding from humans in the shadows. The main goal of the older sister was to gain a large supply of magical power and be revived as a great witch strong enough to have no fear of the anti-magic toxin. For that purpose, she had wandered around the mansion night after night, striving to regain her magical power and reduce the anti-magic power of the humans. The powerful previous Beatrice, who she had read about in Federi's library, had appeared openly in front of the humans and had even toyed with them at will. According to her big sister, such a level of power was most impressive. To think that a witch could appear openly before humans and use magic at will. A witch like that would be so great that even I can hardly imagine it. Is that what we will eventually become? Yes, she was like a witch from a picture book, appearing openly before the humans of the mansion and summoning magic and underlings at will. How inspiring. If that is our future, it means that all of our hard work will be worth it. Yes, it will. Anyway, Onesama, what does going around unlocking windows like this have to do with hard work we are talking about? It was the middle of the night. They were following behind servants who were checking the locks on the doors and windows and undoing those locks after the servants thought they had locked them. It felt more like a child's prank than a work of a witch. This is the part that leads to becoming a great witch. This is the path. All journeys begin with a single step. Those who cannot understand that the first step may look quite foolish from time to time. To To those who cannot understand, that first step may look foolish from time to time. However, it is still a momentous first step. With pride, as though making the first step for mankind on the surface of the moon, the older sister undid the lock of a window with a click. Do you not understand, my little sister? Can you not see what makes something like this momentous? No, Onesama, I don't really understand. The older sister closed her eyes slightly, smiled and opened the unlocked window a crack. Cool outside air flowed in, making the curtains flutter. Let us put it in the toxin-filled words of a human. We are not supposed to exist on this island. I shall go further. Right now, there is no one in this corridor. And yet, the lock has been undone, and the window has opened. Can you see how great a miracle, a work of magic, a proof of our existence that is? Even you should understand the coldness of this breeze. I do. It's nice and cool. The coolness, the softness of the breeze, and the feel of the fluttering curtains touching your hair. All of these things show that we truly do exist here. So by unlocking a window like this, we can leave behind proof that we really did exist. And that is why I unlocked it. Of course, it wasn't just small pranks like opening a window. She could also smash windows and vases and leave behind strange fires and mysterious scribbles. In fact, one time she actually did play a large-scale prank in the kitchen, piling up kitchenware in an eerie manner and leaving behind a bizarre scribble, which scared the servants considerably. Povera Kumasawa. It had been a complete success. It had been truly terrifying that she had succeeded in making the servants acknowledge the existence of magic, weakening the anti-magic toxin. However, she chose to make her presence known by unlocking windows. By doing this, she could release herself from the restrictions imposed by the human's toxin. One day, we will become a single witch and control all of Orokenjima. When that time comes, we will gain complete freedom and will to be capable of stretching our wings as we please. We won't have to be afraid of anyone's gaze anymore. We will be able to fly wherever we wish, disappear whenever we can, laugh however we like, prank however we like, talk with anyone we want to. Humans might ask of us from time to time. They might fight with us or play with us too. What wonderful things for us frail creatures who cannot appear before anyone to look forward to. Right now there are little more than pranks. However, as they pile up, proof that we exist will begin to gather. The servants already call me the witch Beatrice, master of the night, and are beginning to believe in me bit by bit. Ciao, Chippy. The more they believe, the more those humans will lose their anti-magic toxin. I see. So this means that Father has no anti-magic toxin, and that's because he truly believes in the existence of the witch I am, without any doubts. I finally realized that, though I thought of him to be cold, Father did possess a kindness that couldn't be seen. I'd like to become a great witch and appear in front of everyone soon. Eventually, we will be able to appear openly in front of anyone. By doing that repeatedly, we will make people believe in us, and eventually we shall display even our magic for all to see. After that happens, we will descend upon Rokkenjima as the great witch you told me of. The logic of the witch side is very interesting. It keeps me entertained. It does sound credible, in a way. When humans are warned that they're about to enter a famously haunted place, a hotspot for ghosts, they're likely to start yelling "Ghost! Ghost!" at the drop of a hat. That's right. All phenomena are fundamentally neutral, indifferent, and dull. If one wishes to have them be accepted in a certain manner, they must first create a suitable environment. If a person has charisma, people will interpret what they do in a positive way, even when they screw up. I see. I guess in that sense, the Beato's small efforts aren't for nothing. If it were just the mansion locks being undone, everything could be resolved by saying that someone forgot to lock or that it was some kind of prank. It is the rumors of a witch wandering about the mansion night after night that give form to the existence of the witch. The environment was established such that if anything strange happened in the mansion at night, it would be all viewed as the work of the witch. I get it. If things reached a point where no one questioned that logic, it would mean that the same thing as a witch existing in the mansion at night. After the Beatos finished their mischief of unlocking and opening the window, they enjoyed the coolness of the wind and brightness of the moon, then became gold butterflies and disappeared into the darkness. There was no way of knowing whether the window they have opened had actually been opened by them. The servants might have forgotten to lock up, or one of the family might have opened it after the servant had locked up and forgotten to shut it again. Or maybe someone had played a prank. In the same way that none of those possibilities could be denied, it was also impossible to deny the possibility that a witch really had opened a window to enjoy the night breeze. An outcome without an observer can possess an endless number of ways in which it might have occurred. Those humans who can only conceive of a single possibility are unable to imagine anything. However, people who believe in the possibility of a witch can imagine that it was a witch prank. When that happens, the scene of the Beatrice's prank that we have just seen is etched into the fragment as a fact. That's one of the foundations of magic, decorating the process. With just a little magic, even a mass-produced stuffed animal can be reborn as a wonderful, unique stuffed animal filled with a motherly love. E qua ci viene data la risposta. Diretta. Episodio 6 molto diretto a quanto pare. È già tipo la seconda o terza volta che dice qualcosa di misterioso, cioè che ripassa qualcosa di misterioso del passato e dice direttamente la risposta. Ovviamente non in relazione a, ma basta ripensare un attimino. Non tanto, Jover, non tanto. Rileggi la frase. With just a little magic, even a mass-produced stuffed animal can be reborn as a wonderful, unique stuffed animal filled with a mother's love. Sakutaro non l'ha fatto Rosa. Sakutaro l'ha comprato Rosa. Ce n'erano tanti. Ha solo detto a Maria che l'ha fatto lei. E per quello negli occhi di Maria, quando è stato distrutto, era impossibile farlo ritornare, perché era unico. L'ha creato Rosa per sua figlia, agli occhi di Maria. E ecco cosa ha trovato Enge nel sottoscala del negozio. Ci ritorneremo, perché ci ritorneremo, ma qui viene detto direttamente, cioè basta fare 1+1, non viene detto tutto il processo. Non per forza fosse un appassionato. Non so come viene poi parlato, come se ne parla nell'anime, nella novel, perché ci ritorneremo, lì ne sono sicuro. Perché ricordo che nel manga, se ricordo bene, c'è un sacchetto, un sacchettone gigante pieno di Sakutaro. Probabilmente, siccome lui aveva questo negozio di letti di futon, magari vendeva anche peluche. E quindi sì, è per questo Angie poi si è preso uno di questi ed è andata nella Golden Land, gliel'ha dato a Maria ed è ritornato in vita. It's all about decorating the process. Dio mio, non mi aspettavo dessero già la risposta. Come per l'altra volta, come il discorso dei 1000 anni, che in realtà erano 6, che 1000 anni è solo un modo di dire un tempo molto lungo. Basta. Va bene. Assurdo. If you doubt it, you will be burned by the anti-magic toxin. If you believe it, the magic will become the truth. Not all magic is bad. Maria-o-nechan was right. Good magic exists too. The power to repel evil magic may be necessary for a child of man. However, it is part of the love of the human world not to burn away and defile love-filled magic. Well, good magic is the only kind I'm willing to allow. For all other kinds, the best remedy is to deny them and burn them away. A typical answer for a child of man. Getting back to the point, what all of this tells me is that the ghost Beatrice, who was called the ruler of Rokkenjima's night, doesn't really exist. It's nothing more than a general term for any inexplicable occurrences that took place in the mansion at night. In other words, Beatrice isn't the name of a person, it's the name of a phenomenon. If anything bizarre happens, it's all because the work of the Great Golden Witch. Any environment in which there could be a witch is, in fact, Beatrice herself. That piles up until we reach 1986. This is the veil that the true culprit is hiding behind. And the person hiding behind it is, without a doubt, one of the humans. Let us say that this holds true at this point in the witch's tale of the past. However, I doubt you can use that argument alone to fight all the way through 1986. Scusa, non volevo interromperti, oh grande Fesarin. Ridiculous. Someone obviously must have forgotten to lock up. Well, you may say that, but this isn't just something that happened once or twice. In other words, you're a klutz, a fool, a moron of a servant who forgot to check not just once or twice, but many times over. Shannon isn't the only one. The same window was always open even when other servants did the rounds. Yeah, Mom even asked me if I'd ever left a window open in the hall at night. I have absolutely nothing to do with it, but she still got pissed. I'm sure Beatrice wanted to gaze at the moon. It is a bit creepy to have that happen over and over at the same window. And that time where the kitchenware was piled up in the kitchen with creepy magic circles scribbled there, that sounds even more freaky. Yes, they said it was an eerie magic circle drawn with something like blood. Even then, people have been scared to patrol. Ever since then, people have been scared to patrol the kitchen. About the case of the eerie magic circle in the kitchen, who witnessed that? Well, it wasn't me. I think I heard about it from a servant kid who quit. I wasn't on duty that day. Then, there you have it. In the same way that stories about popular haunted locations have become exaggerated, you servants like to have a little fun telling ghost stories about the mansion at night, don't you? By doing that, you speak as though the witches exist and infect others with that belief. And so, all of the eerie things that were supposedly done by Beatrice are either the result of coincidence or an accident, or completely cooked up stories that people fabricated for fun. Is that what you're trying to say? Exactly. Of course, there's no way Beatrice exists. Non fa arrabbiare Maria. Beatrice exists. I'm glad you understand so well, Butler-san. I imagine there does exist some human person with that name, or else multiple specific or non-specific people who acted under such an alias. However, this golden witch Beatrice that we hope and fantasize might exist is completely and unequivocally impossible. Beatrice wa iru! I've met her! Oh, could you tell me about that in detail? You met Beatrice? And did she show you magic or something? I see her all the time. Every time I come to Rokkenjima. And she always shows me fun magic. Denying the existence of the witch would always have the immediate effect of infuriating Maria. However, Erika, who didn't know to avoid this topic, had challenged her head-on. Erika, ma porca puttana, c'ha 9 anni, probabilmente è autistica. Please! Dio Cristo, Erika, ti prego! But no matter how Maria tried to smooth over the matter of Beatrice's existence, she stood no chance of defeating the ruthlessly intelligent Erika in an argument. George and Jessica hurried up to calm Maria down, but Maria's anger could not be settled by this point. So she showed you magic? Could you explain in detail what kind of magic? She would always use magic to give me candy as a present. Beato can create candy with magic. Are you sure she didn't just take it out of her pocket? No, she didn't. It was magic. It was incredible. Tons of candies poured out of an empty cup. Oh, wow, that's some awesome magic. Oh, that's right, that really would be magic. Yes, it was magic. It really was empty. I checked inside myself. Excuse me, what do you mean you checked inside? Give it a rest, Erika-san. She's just a kid. Anyway, Erika-sama, would you like some more tea? No, thank you. I'm having a seriously intellectual discussion over here. You outsiders can stay out of this. You'll have to tell me more detail, Maria-san. What do you mean when you say that you've checked inside it? Fortunately, we have right here a teacup that has just been overturned and emptied. Will you do me the favor of recreating the circumstances for me right now? Let's see if you would. Let's see it if you would. Let's see it. After holding up a cup of black tea which she had overturned and was still dripping upside down over the table, Erika slammed it down hard and slid it over to Maria. Erika's eyes glowed repulsively, like those of a snake about to snap up a frog. Those eyes were ice cold and had a madness in them that made one want to avert their gaze. On the other hand, Maria was glaring furiously, her whole body shaking uncontrollably in the greatest expression of anger that a human can manage. The look on her face was frightening, not at all something one would expect to see of a 9-year-old girl. Stop it, both of you. I'll show you what Beatrice did. Just like this. She took the empty cup and put it upside down on the table. Yes, and then she immediately lifted it up and candies flowed out. Incredible! That really would be magic if it had happened that way. Butler and the others tried to get between the two and calm them down, but it was no use. The two violently pushed aside the others and glaring at each other from so close that their foreheads banged together, they repeatedly slammed down the upside-down cup on the table. The sound of their foreheads banging together and the cup being slammed together shattered the barrier between reality and illusion. Cioè, tiro le testate con la cup di tè. Cazzo sta succedendo? It's magic. It is magic. Beato used magic to make candies appear. Then, why don't you reproduce it for us? Maria! Then why don't you reproduce it for us, founder of Mariage Sorcière and the Witch of Origins, Maria? Lady Erika, this opponent is not worth your time. This battle is not worth fighting. Shut up, ball-jointed murder doll. Alright. How do you claim that the overturned cup was filled with candies? Just turning the cup over won't make candies come out, because you have to use magic to make them come out. Beato can use magic because she's a witch. Oh yes, magic. She used magic. How did she use magic? Did she swing a magic wand and tap the cup to make candies pour out? No, that can't be it, right? Right? Beato is a witch, so she used magic. Magic is when you say an incantation and cause a miracle. You can't use the magic that makes candies unless you say the incantation. Oh, understood. Oh, sure, understood. Good, good. Let's see this incantation. Let's see this magic. Come on, what kind of incantation would a witch use? What kind? Try to picture it. The inside of the cup is filled with candies. Try to picture such a wonder. And then what? Look, the inside of the cup is filled with candy. Maria grasped at the overturned cup so tightly that it nearly cracked, and slowly lifted it up. Then, from the inside, as many cute candies as the cup could hold poured out. Maria looked at Erika with a full smile, as though saying that showed you. This is what you call Beatrice's magic? Che faccia. Dlanor, beat her to death. As you wish. I won't let anyone deny Beato's magic. After all, magic is magic. Magic is impossible. You might be telling a lie because something. You might be telling a lie about something that never happened. A repetition had been requested. Failure to respond will be a violation of Nox's 7th commandment. I respond. This is the truth. This story really happened. This wouldn't have anything to do with the trick in the actual cup or table, making this just a sleight of hand, right? That would be against the rules, wouldn't it? Hidden devices and tricks are in violation of Nox's 3rd commandment. However, if and only if foreshadowing had been presented, these are permitted by Nox's 8th commandment. Nox's 3rd commandment prohibits hidden doors and devices that had no clues pointing towards them. However, by presenting foreshadowing and clues that point towards the existence of said devices, Nox's 8th commandment allows them to be used. They had no tricks like that in them. It was just an ordinary table and an ordinary cup. It's magic, not a trick. Understood. By Nox's 9th commandment, Lady Maria's account of witnessing magic is permissible. That's right, with the 9th at least. Observers are always allowed to speak their personal opinions. Otherwise, mysteries where the culprit is seen dressed up as a woman and it's written "I saw a woman" would be all disqualified. Sure, that's fine. Claim that you saw magic all you want. All truths are nothing more than claims. So I'll make a claim separate from yours and smash right through yours. That is the detective duty and the time we shy the most. You can't break through this. This is magic. Since it is magic, only witches can use it, right? That's right, only witches can use it. So if a human like me could use it too, that would mean it isn't magic, right? You can't use it. Only Beato can use magic. Good. Then why don't I show you? I'll make candy appear from out this empty cup. I'd like to see you try. Impossible, impossible, useless, useless. There's no way a human can do it. Then please just relax and watch. Si ha fatto muda. Okay, here we have an empty cup. Is that okay? It is, isn't it? Then we turn it over on the table like this. Let it be known that this fight has no point. Okay, I'm going to say the incantation for creating candies now. In fact, why don't we say it together? Come, try to picture it. The inside of the cup is filled with candy. Try to picture such a wonder. Maria-san, why do you close your eyes when you say the incantation? Why not witness the miracle of magic? Humans are stained by the anti-magic toxin. If a lowly human saw it, the miracle of magic would be wiped out of existence. That's why there's a rule that says lonely humans have to close their eyes when using magic. Oh no. Oh no. Ti prego, non fare Santa Denier. No, lo sta già facendo. Oh no. Oh no. Sto male. Sto già male. I see. Okay, I understand the protocol used by humans performing magic. In other words, not once have you ever witnessed the moment the magic happened. Isn't that right? Look, it's done. Please, lift up the cup. After all, I used the magic to make candies appear. There's no way someone who makes fun of witches could use the candy magic. Then, if it actually did work, all the better. After glaring at Erika with the utmost of malice, Maria slowly stretched her hand out towards the overturned cup. There was no way that Erika, someone who made fun of witches like this, could ever use magic. There was no way there can be candy there. So, how's it look inside? And there, in a cute wrapper, lay a single candy. See? This is magic, right? Erika smiled gently. A look of disbelieving shock rose in Maria's eyes, along with the envy for this person who could use the same magic as Beato. Erika, you can use magic too? See, it's magic, isn't it? What I did there. Yeah. So in other words, Erika smiled pleasantly. She and Maria had finally reached a deep understanding. No, ti prego, non scrivere così, stronzo, Ryukishi. You are a moron! While you had your eyes closed, I lifted the cup up and tossed a candy in. Call that magic? It's a third-rate trick. There's my blue truth as the detective. And now, as the witch of truth, I present to you my red truth. Your so-called candy magic is nothing more than a sleight of hand. A mere trick that the fake witch calling herself Beatrice or whatever claimed was magic. I mean, seriously, did you really get fooled by such a dumb trick? The magic you respectively speak of can be trusted in the slightest. Everything you ever thought was magic was just a trick that you didn't get. There's no way there's such a thing. There's no way there's such a thing as magic. There's no way magic exists. No, Sakudaro, no! Putting the candy in the cup might have been a sleight of hand, but that doesn't prove that Beato's magic was also a sleight of hand. However, you can prove that it could only have been done with magic. You rotten stuffed animal. For your attention, I beg to inform you of the following. Know that this meaningless battle ends here. You damn scraps of paper. Why do you have to butt in the good part? That is enough. Lady Maria had been shown that the magic which makes candy appear in a cup could possibly be a trick that she misunderstood to be magic. Therefore, her claim that it was magic is dismissed. However, it really might have been magic when Maria saw it. Just because it can be done by a sleight of hand doesn't disprove magic. Well done, Lady Erika. Congratulations on crushing Lady Maria's witch illusion. Witch illusions are an attempt to make others acknowledge the existence of magic by claiming that something would be impossible without it. That is the attack used by witches. If someone can argue back and say it would be possible without magic, the witch illusion is defeated and the witch must retreat. The magic that Maria claimed to have seen had the possibility of being a trick, so it was unqualified to be acknowledged as magic. That was only the result of this battle. It was still too early to bring the fight into the domain of denying everything else Maria believed in, the existence of Beatrice, witches and magic. However, battles will always end up instantly when your opponent surrenders. Erika wanted to hit Maria with everything at once, defiling the witch and magic she believes in, and crushing it without a fragment of compassion. Just one more step and I have been able to take a heart as pure as the smooth just one more step and I would have been able to take a heart as pure as the smooth sand just after a wave has pulled back and tear it to bits. What a shame. This isn't fun anymore. Are you satisfied now? Ouch. Erika grumpily punched the arm of Dlanor that was restraining her. However, the cold, hard, marble-like arm just made Erika's hand hurt. Sta bene, stronza. Diplomatic immunity. This battle is over. For your attention, diplomatic immunity accepted. Know that this fight is childish in the extreme. Did you say something? She did not. Let us withdraw. Lady Maria is no match for you, Lady Erika. There is no need to pay any attention to a small fry such as this. You're right. How childish of me, tearing a kid's dream apart. I'm really sorry, okay? I apologize for the momentary lack of elegance. Let's go. Erika's group turned their backs on Maria, who was still crouching down limply. However, as the detectives in famous mysteries have always done in the past, Erika clapped her hand, stopped and turned around. Oh, that's right. Your thoughts? All it takes is the presence of an overturned cup, and a deduction like this becomes trivial for Furudo Erika. Your thoughts, ladies and gentlemen? Erika's merciless words gouged themselves into Maria's heart once more. Erika left, leaving an evil laugh behind her. After bowing to Maria and Sakutaro, Dlanor left too. Gertrude and Cornelia followed suit. After that, only Maria and Sakutaro were left in the lonely Golden Land. Beato is a witch. Beato is a witch. It was magic. It was magic. It was magic. Beato used magic to give you candy. You don't need to doubt that. Please believe in Beato. You know that magic can't bear fruit unless you believe. In the middle of an ice-cold drizzle which had started falling at some point, Maria sobbed. Trying to at least protect her from the rain, Sakutaro used his large sleeves to cover Maria's head and stayed there by her side. Okay, let's go, Maria. Let's play card together in the room upstairs. Erika-san, as an adult, I cannot condone that conversation just now. My apologies. I'm still just a kid after all. After seeing that wonderful candy magic brutally insulted by Erika, Maria had been crying this whole time. I started noticing it at the quiz party after dinner, but your personality is screwed up. Is this fun for you? Are you enjoying tearing a little kid's dream apart? Please stop, Butler-sama. Please, for my sake, don't push any further. Please. Shannon, who had been looking flustered, bowed her head deeply and implored Butler to stop. George, who didn't want Shannon pressured, fell in line. Let's go. Let's spend this year in the cousin's room too. We can watch TV and play cards. I heard that Erika-san has her own room. Shannon, please guide her. Oh, no need to bother yet. I'll relax down here a little while longer. I want to savor it a bit. What the hell are you trying to savor? Butler and the others could no longer hide their irritation. They had no obligation to entertain their uninvited guest any further than this. Erika herself understood perfectly well that no place would welcome a detective. Butler and the others wanted to leave and Erika wanted to stay. Neither had any desire to stop the other. Jessica urged Maria, who was still crying, to come along. Then Maria stopped and spun around. Got a problem? Boh, preferisco che fai la streghetta psicopatica che piangere, onestamente, Maria. They do exist here and there. Humans that are practically lumps of the toxin that doesn't believe in magic. There are many boys like you in my class. They don't believe in witches or magic or miracles or happiness. You can't become a witch if you let the toxin of the people like that burn you to ashes. I may not look like it, but I am Beatrice's disciple. I am the apprentice witch of origins. Maria, who had been sobbing until a second ago, seemed to have transformed into an entirely different person. She laughed, no, cackled eerily. Butler's group stiffened up at this sudden change, but Erika was watching calmly. Then she smiled and gave a small nod in response. Good. You're not a bad opponent. Good night, Miss Maria. Let's fight in a more satisfying game next time. Sure, let's. It's a promise. You stop that too, Maria. Come on, let's go. What about you, Shannon-chan? You can play cards with us if you want. Come on, just for at least one round. I'll cheer you up. Then just for a bit. Shannon couldn't refrain in the suffocating lounge any longer. No, remain. Shannon couldn't remain in the suffocating lounge any longer either. In part apologetic and in part trying to escape, she followed after Butler's group. After that, Erika was the only one left in the lounge. She, still wearing a thin smile, she tapped a glass with her finger. There was a light chink, a surprisingly boring sound. Even so, Erika wore a thin smile as though pleased. Sorry to keep you waiting. I was just in the bath. Oh, where is everyone? Oh, I just missed them. They went upstairs. I'm the one who called you here. I heard that you know a lot. I heard that you know a lot of stories about Akujikijima and the Witch of the Forest. Oh, well, they are trivial stories, but I don't mind in the slightest if they are trivial. Would you like a drink to follow your path? Even I like to be helpful every now and then. Erika stood up, opened the refrigerator behind the counter and put ice into the ice pail. Perfetto, stavo giusto pensando di concludere qui. Bene, Erika si riconferma una stronza, tempo non è passato, e abbiamo The Lovers, la carta. E ci fermiamo qui appena finisce questa scena introduttiva. Ah ok, qua c'è il gazebo. E ci fermiamo qui.